Welcome back to the second part of our nationality predictor video. So in the last video, we have designed this UI for our nationality predictor app, and basically what this UI does is it just enter your name and press this button, and that should reveal uh, where the person belongs from. So it's a very simple app, and I will now quickly show you what is the API that we are using for predicting this. Okay, so we are going to use two APIs to accomplish this. The first one, let me just copy this link and show it to you. So this is the first API that we are going to use, that is api.nationalize.io, and it accepts a parameter name where you can search for any name, and that should give you a response like this. So let me run this, and you should get a response like this, in which it gives you the probability of the country code and the probability from where he or she may belong. So that is what we have. So for example, here I have searched for Tom, and it says it can be from CZ, SK, or NO with these probabilities. So this is one thing. Now we want to show the name of the country and the flag of the country. So for that we need the second API, that is going to be country code to country name. So let me just paste that, and this is how that works. So restcountries.com, so this is the endpoint, and at the end you just have to provide the country code, and that should spit out the details about that country. So let me show you. So you can see this is what it spits out. So it has a complete list, and what we are interested is in this. So name.common, and we also need, if we go down, we need the flags. So this flags we will be needing, right? So these are the two things we will be requiring from this API. Okay, so now that's it for the API. Now let's start building it. So let's begin. Let's go to our app and let's open up our Visual Studio Code. Now first we are going to make this using VueJS. So let's begin. So let's first create the first thing, because we are going to make this in React as well as Vue. So first let me just create a duplicate of this and save it as react.html, so that we have a copy of the file. And let us start with the index.html. Now this is where we are going to work for Vue.js code, and we will create a separate scripts file specifically for Vue, and it's a JS file, JavaScript file. Okay, so here is where we are going to put our JavaScript. So let's now begin. So let's close the Explorer. Now we can go down, and at the bottom we can add Vue.js CDN. So let's add Vue CDN, so that it uses code snippet. I have already created few code snippets for common tasks. So this code snippet adds Vue.js CDN and a script tag. Now the script tag, I think I have named it scripts.vue. So I will just rename this, and that's it. And I don't need this. Okay, save, and that is my script tag. So just to check whether everything is working or not, let's do a console log, and let's say hello, just to check if it is working. right? So that is going to be it. Now let's start our server. I will just right click, and I already installed live server, so I will just open that, and let's open the developer tools and go to console, and I get hello. Perfect. So that means our Vue.js is working. Cool. Now I will add the Vue.js starter code. So for that I have a snippet, code snippet already assigned. So this is going to be my code snippet. So it's a very simple code snippet where I'm creating Vue app and mounting it to an element with an ID of app. So this we have to add. So let's go to our app, and in the outermost div I will have add an ID called app. That's it. So now this particular app is under Vue, right? So now we are ready to work with it. So let's first of all, I don't like the way all the three page of our app is looking. So at a time only one of them must be visible. So what I like to do is I will add a step variable. So I will say the step is, so the first step is the form, the second step is the loading part, and the third step is the result. So based on what is the step, the specific frame will be open. Okay, so let's do that. So I've added step 1. So let's go to our divs where all this magic is happening. So the first div is this one. So let's add a if, and here we will say if step is equal to 1. So if step is equal to 1, this will be shown. Let's copy the same code and come down to the loading part, and here we will say step 2. Okay, so now that loading part is gone. Now similarly for the third one we will say step 3, right? So now you see, because only the step is 1, only the first part is visible. So if I change this to step 2, you can see the predicting part is visible, and on step 3 the result part is visible. Perfect. So now that is done. So let's go back to step 1. Now the next thing, let's handle it one by one. So for step 1 we have to handle the change in this input button. Okay, so this input button, so let's have a name data or name variable which is going to store the name entered by the user. So now this we have over here. So this has to be assigned to the input text. So we will add that using vmodel, and let's call it name. So now this input text and this variable is now in sync. So whenever any one of them changes, it should reflect. So let me show you. For example, if I add my name over here, and you can see it comes up over here. Perfect. So that is working. Now let's go back, and now that is done. Now what we want is we want to click on this button to get the result. So for that we will have an on click event. So at the rate click, and I will say dot prevent. So just for to be on the safe side, let's say prevent, and here I will call a function. Now that function is not yet there, so let's call it predict country. Okay, so let's call it predict country. So this is going to be the function, and now we have to make this function. So let's make this function, and let's come over here, and here we will add methods predict country. Now the first thing that I do is change the step to 2. Okay, step number 2, so that it will show that the things are have started. So something is going in the background. Okay, Then second thing is we want to get uh, the name. Okay, the name is already there in, because there we have two-way data binding, so that will be already there. And now we want to do is we want to get the uh, details, that is the we have to resolve the country, right? So for that we just have to make a API request. So let's see how to do that. So for that we will be requiring a fetch request, right? And now for the fetch request we will need a API address. So let's open that address, let's copy the link and let's paste it over here. So this is going to be our API address. Now only thing is we have to replace this by the name and we will have the result. Now obviously this should be because this is going to be a promise, we can do it either using then, or we can do async await. So I will like to do it with async, and here I will say await. Okay, and then I will save that result inside, let's say let response is equal to here. Okay, so this will give us a response, and then after that we have to get the data from the response. So for that again I will do res.json, and that will give us the data, right? And that's it. So now we will just do a console log and see what is the result. Okay, so let's see what do we get. Let's save this and let's click let's open up the developer console and let's try some name. So let me try my name. Let's press submit, and there you go, you get a response, and the response you get is name, and you get an country array from in which you get the all the countries basically, right? Okay, so now here what you can do is let's try some other name also so that we are sure. Let's take Tom and let's run that. It also gives me some result. And so if you look at it over here, the first entry, that we have is the entry which is going to which is the entry which is having the highest probability. Okay, so this is, so if you look at the three countries that it has returned, so CZ, the probability of CZ is highest. So what we will do is we will take only the first entry and show it to the users. Okay, so that is what we are going to do. So let's do that. So let's say let's select a country. So it is going to be let's define country is equal to data.country, and from the country I'm going to take the first one. Okay, and I'm going to take country of 0, and I'm going to take the country ID from it. Okay, so let's call it country underscore ID. Okay, this is what we want, right? I think, yeah. So this is what we want. So let's now do a console log and let's console log the country and see what do we get as the result. So let's do Shibu and I get in. Perfect. Now if I refresh it again and let's do Tom, I get CZ. Perfect. So now we have got the country part. So we have got the country. Now the next part is to get the details about the country, right? So let's take the API for that. Let's do take the API and let's come over here. Let's say country details response. Okay, so this is going to be I'm going to again wait, and I'm going to do fetch request, and I have already copied the address of the API. The only thing I want is add that to the end, and I will just add country to the end. Perfect. So now this should give me my country data, but again now this will result in a JSON, so I have to decode that, and once I decode it, then I will get the final data. Okay, so let's quickly do a console log and check what is the country details that we are getting. Okay, so let's do Shivu and let's run it, and there you go, I get my country details. Okay, so here if you see, I'm getting an array, and let's get the first element from the array. Okay, let's run this again, and yeah, there you go. So I got the country details, and that is it. So I'm getting everything that I need, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to store two things. Let's say let's create two new variables inside our data. Let's call it country, and or we will have an object, and inside that we will have a name and we will have a flag. Okay, so we will have two things about the country, and only thing I have to do from here is once I get the result, I will check if the result is there, right? So if is not equal to undefined, so if it is not equal to undefined, then I will say this dot country dot name is equal to, now this is not the correct I suppose. Let me just, so we will look at that. Let me just verify the exact API. So if I look at it, it is name dot common, so we have to get the name and then we have to get the common, right? So this is going to be my country name. Then for the flag we have, let me go down, I think it is, where is flags? Okay, it is flags PNG. Okay, so it is going to be flags PNG. Okay, so now I think that is it, and let's do a console log, and let's print our result. Okay, and see what do we get at the end. So let's give it some name, print it, and there you go. So I get a name India and flag of this. Okay, perfect. So we are getting it, no doubt. So everything is working. So after this step we are ready to show the result, right? So after this step we are ready to show the result. So I will just do this dot step is equal to 3. Okay, so that is going to be a clue that our this process is done. Perfect. Now once this is done, let's move on to showing the result. Okay, so let's try this out till here. So if I run this, perfect. So I get the output, but now obviously the things are not updating because we are yet to show the result. Okay, so let's look at how what changes we have to do. So the first thing that we want to do is change the name. So whatever name is entered, so we can say name, because the name is getting stored over here, so we can show that. Then second, the country name. So we have the variable country, and inside that we have an object with the name, sorry, value of name. Okay, key of name. So that is done. Then we also need uh, the image. So the image is an attribute, so we cannot directly print it out. Instead we will have to bind the value, and here we can simply say the value, that is country dot flag. I think it's flag or flag. Okay, flag, and that's it. Now we will show the probability. So probability will be missing, we will have to manage that. We will come to it a little later. So let's try something out. Let's click on Tom, and there you go, you get the result. Now only thing left is the probability part, so let's tackle that. So the probability we are getting from over here, right? So here itself we can get the probability, right? So let's get that. Okay, so at this point we are getting uh, the country details, right? So here we will add one more option. So this country, and here we will add the probability of 0. Okay, so we will initially have the probability of 0, and then we will say this dot country dot, I will remove the let first, this dot country dot probability is equal to country 0 dot probability. Okay, now the probability is going to be a value between 0 to 1, so we want to multiply it by 100 and then round it off. So let's multiply bit by 100, and then we will also do a math round, and yeah, so that should give us our probability, right? So now only thing left is to show that probability over here, and that is going to be country dot probability. Okay, that's it. I think we are ready. Let's try this out, and there you go, I have the 100% probability, right? Let's try something else. John, and it is from USA with a 5% probability. Okay, now we have a close button that right now it is not working, so let's see how to handle that. Okay, now for the close button, let's look at where is that close button. Yeah, this is the close button. Now for this close button we will we should have a button here instead of this. So let's replace this with a button so that we get pointer events. um, and then here we will like to have a click event, and let's call a function called let's call it restart. Okay, so let's call the function as restart. Now we will have to define that function. Let's come over here. Let's restart, and we just have to make the step to one and clear out the name. Okay, and obviously we have to clear all the variables that we have initialized. So we will remove the name, the flag, the probability, and everything. Okay, and that's it. That will be our restart. So now let's try this final app. Let's call Larry. Let's call it and see we get it as United States, probability of 22% that Larry belongs to United States. Let's close this and let's go back. Perfect. So now we can try some other name. Okay, so Yasmin looks like from Jordan. Perfect. So that's it. That is our app, our final nationality predictor app with based on name. Okay, so we have finished implementing this app using VueJS. Now it's time for implementing this using React.js. So let us